Society sells you a lie, telling you loneliness is a weakness to be fixed by another person. Most people run from silence. They fill every gap with noise, with people, with scrolling. The quiet terrifies them because it forces a confrontation with the one thing they've been avoiding, themselves. But what if the very thing you're running from is the master key to your power? How long has it been since you sat in pure stillness? No phone, no distractions, no secondhand noise filling your head. Stoicism teaches that profound wisdom isn't found in the crowd. It's forged in solitude. In that quiet, you meet reality. You stop needing the world to tell you who you are, and you start knowing it for yourself. If you're ready to see how being alone can rebuild your entire life, unlocking a confidence that doesn't need permission, keep watching. A hard truth. Many people fear being alone more than anything. The absence of external validation feels like an emptiness they must fill. They chase likes, approval, and relationships not out of desire, but from a dread of the void within. But here's the shift. Solitude isn't your enemy. It is your most powerful ally on the path of self-discovery. When you choose to be with yourself, you open a door to deep examination. You begin to understand your nature in ways constant noise never permits. And the longer you remain in that chosen aloneness, the clearer it becomes. It's not a void. It's a space for creation. Your mind gains sharpness. Your values solidify. Your purpose comes into focus. In solitude, you learn you are the most important person in your life. This is where you build trust in your own judgment, where you find the courage to make choices without a committee. As Carl Jung noted, those who look outside dream. Those who look inside awaken. In your silent moments, you wake up to your real potential. Your greatest partnership begins the day you befriend yourself. Choosing this path doesn't mean you shut out the world. It means you tune into the most critical connection you'll ever have. The world often mistakes solitude for loneliness, but they are opposites. Loneliness feels like lack. Solitude feels like choice. It's a state of empowerment. The longer you walk this path unattached, the more you grow into your genuine self. You realize your happiness isn't leased from another person's presence. You start finding genuine joy in your own company. You understand that you don't need another soul to feel complete. This is the birthplace of authentic confidence. It's an unshakable knowing that you are whole, capable, and enough, with or without anyone beside you. As you continue this inner work, the distractions start to fall away. You stop letting other people's opinions write the story of your life. Instead, you become the author. You govern your feelings, your actions, your destiny. This is where Stoic philosophy lights the way. The Stoics remind us that our outer circumstances don't get to decide our inner peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the quality of your life flows from the quality of your thoughts. The more time you spend in deliberate solitude, the more your thoughts refine. Your purpose clarifies, and you become less tossed by the changing winds around you. You see that serenity and strength are inner jobs, not prizes you win from others' approval. But the fear of being alone isn't just about approval. It's about facing our own shadows. Many avoid their own company because they're afraid of what they'll see in their thoughts, habits, and past choices. It's easier to distract ourselves with a relationship, a job, or entertainment than to sit with an uncomfortable truth. Yet, when you settle into silence, you can't hide from your own mind anymore. And that is your advantage. It forces you to face your doubts, your flaws, your fears, but it also forces you to witness your resilience, your strength, your untapped potential. This self-knowledge is the secret to transformation. It lets you move forward with clarity. In aloneness, you find you already possess everything you need to thrive. You just have to learn how to access it. The longer you stay in this space, the more a monumental truth dawns on you. You are sufficient. You require no other person to certify your worth. This changes everything, because falling into the trap of seeking validation is so easy, especially in relationships. We often look for a partner, friends, or society to make us feel whole. But the reality is, external validation is temporary. It's based on their perception, not your core truth. When you learn to validate yourself, you break free from this cycle of dependency. You stop seeking proof externally and start acknowledging you are worthy exactly as you are. Seneca observed that it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. When you focus on your own growth, on refining your thoughts and deeds, you stop wasting days chasing external stamps of approval. You see your time is better spent building your foundation than begging for others' blueprints. This shift is powerful because it changes how you move through the world. When you stop depending on others for your sense of okayness, something remarkable happens. You start attracting people who value you for your authentic self, not for the mask you wear to please them. You stop bending yourself to fit others' expectations and instead stand firm in your own principles. This draws the right people into your orbit, those who respect you, admire you, and see your real value. They don't come because you chased them, but because they're pulled to the certainty and genuineness you now emit. You no longer need to hunt for love or approval. It starts flowing toward you naturally. This magnetic quality comes from within, born from your deep knowledge that you are already enough. Stop seeking a mirror in others and become your own light. As you keep embracing solitude, your standards begin to rise. You stop accepting relationships or situations that don't support your growth or align with your values. This is where your real power lives. The longer you remain unattached, the more you realize you are the prize. You no longer tolerate behavior that disrespects you, drains your energy, or adds no value to your life. You grow more selective with your time and who you allow into your space. You understand that your attention is priceless and you guard it fiercely. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Instead, you focus on your own evolution. You see that by doing this, you become the best version of yourself, and that is the greatest gift you can offer the world. This transformation requires commitment. It asks for self-honesty, discipline, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. But the rewards are immense. The more time you invest in solitude, the more you refine your mind, body, and spirit. You start operating from a place of inner strength, not from fear or scarcity. You learn to trust your own discernment, to make decisions without a need for collective permission, and to navigate life with clear intention. You become unshakable because you no longer outsource your self-worth to anyone or anything external. You've learned to find peace within, and that is the foundation of a truly powerful life. In the end, the longer you walk this path alone, the stronger you become. You learn to embrace your solitude, to trust your own compass, and to build a life centered on your own values and mission. You stop hunting for others' endorsement and instead become the source of your own authority. This is the road to true self-mastery, a road that leads to freedom, resilience, and unwavering confidence. And once you start walking it, there's no going back. You become the architect of your existence, fully in command and unapologetically real. In a world constantly pushing you to seek outside validation, breaking the cycle of needing external approval is a radical act. We've been conditioned to believe our worth is determined by how others see us. The praise of a friend, the acceptance of a partner, the nods from the crowd. We grow up thinking, without them, we are incomplete. But what happens when that approval is taken away? What if, for once, you stopped measuring your value by another's ruler? This is where the power of self-validation enters. When you choose solitude, when you step back from the world's noise, you start to see something revolutionary. You need no one's permission to feel whole. At first, it feels strange. The idea of being enough for yourself without requiring another person to confirm it is a challenging concept to absorb. But once you welcome it, your entire self-image begins to shift. You stop seeking constant reassurance and you start seeing your own merit. And that is when the magic unfolds. Your self-respect, longer depends on the approval of others. It grows, fueled by the realization that you matter simply because you exist, not because of how others rate you. This change isn't just mental. It affects every part of your life. When you no longer look to others to tell you your value, you stand taller, more grounded, and more assured. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of seeking validation. It feels good, doesn't it? A compliment here, a sign of acceptance there. It gives us a temporary feeling of being seen and valued. But the danger lies in making that external validation the bedrock of our self-esteem. Because when it's withdrawn, we're left with just an empty feeling, unsure of who we are. It's like building a house on sand. The moment the winds of doubt or rejection blow, everything crumbles. But in solitude, when the noise hushes and you're left with just yourself, you begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to the opinions of others. You begin to validate yourself. This shift in mindset doesn't just change how you see yourself. It changes how you engage with the world. Instead of constantly seeking approval, you become more anchored in your own principles and convictions. Your actions are no longer driven by the need to please others, but by the need to align with your own code. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond that matters. When you validate yourself, you reclaim your power. You stop reacting to the views and judgments of others and start responding from a place of inner strength. You see that your sense of worth is something you carry with you, not something dependent on the approval of others. In a way, self-validation is an act of liberation. It's setting yourself free from the chains of external expectation. It's giving yourself permission to exist fully as you are, without apology or compromise. The beauty of self-validation is that it isn't fleeting. It doesn't depend on the whims of others. It's permanent, rooted in the understanding that your significance is inherent, not based on what others think of you. When you stop measuring your worth by external metrics, you unlock the door to true liberty. You stop seeking external permission and start living truthfully. As you begin to embrace self-validation, you'll notice a change in how others treat you. People are naturally drawn to those who are secure in their own worth. When you stop seeking approval from others, you stop attracting people and opportunities that don't match your values. Instead, you draw partnerships and prospects based on mutual respect, not on a need for validation. The power of self-validation lies in its ability to make you a magnet for what is truly aligned with your authentic self. You stop wasting energy on situations that drain you, and instead you focus on what lifts and inspires you. The longer you walk this path of self-validation, the more you see that your self-esteem doesn't fluctuate based on external conditions. You become unshakable. Life's ups and downs no longer dictate how you see yourself. Whether you experience success or failure, praise or criticism, your worth remains the same. This is the strength that comes with self-validation. It's the unwavering confidence that comes from within, not from others. When you stop chasing validation, you stop depending on external circumstances to dictate your emotional state. You become your own source of stability. And in that stability, you find the freedom to be truly yourself. But this journey isn't always easy. It requires you to let go of old patterns of thinking, of old ways of seeking external validation. It demands a deep level of self-awareness and self-acceptance. Yet once you start practicing self-validation, you will begin to see the extraordinary changes it brings to your life. Your relationships become healthier because they're based on mutual respect and understanding, not on a need for validation. Your work becomes more fulfilling because it aligns with your purpose, not with a craving for endorsement. And your sense of self-worth becomes something unshakable, something that cannot be stripped away by the opinions or actions of others. This is where the real power resides. Self-validation isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's about stepping into your full potential. When you validate yourself, you give yourself permission to be exceptional. You stop holding yourself back from fear of judgment or rejection. Instead, you move forward with confidence, knowing your worth is already confirmed, that you are already enough. This doesn't mean you stop growing or improving. It means you accept yourself as you are, while also striving to become the best version of yourself. It's a journey of self-empowerment where you learn to trust in your own capabilities and significance. As you continue down this path, you start seeing that you are the only one who can truly decide your worth. You are not at the mercy of any other person's views or expectations. You are the painter of your own self-portrait, and you have the power to shape it however you choose. This realization is both liberating and empowering. It's the key to living a life that is authentic, fulfilling, and free from the need for constant approval. In summary, the power of self-validation is transformative. It shifts your mindset from one of dependence to one of independence. It allows you to embrace who you are without fear of judgment or rejection. And it frees you from the cycle of seeking approval from others, giving you the confidence to live truthfully and pursue your goals with unwavering clarity. Once you start validating yourself, you see that you need no one's permission to feel whole. Your worth is already confirmed, and that knowing changes everything. It's the foundation of true self-confidence and the secret to living a life that is genuinely yours. A moment comes in every life when you realize you've been chasing something outside yourself. Whether it's the approval of friends, family, or a partner, many of us spend years hunting for validation from others. We seek confirmation that we are enough, that we are loved, that we belong. This constant need can be exhausting. But what happens when you stop chasing it? What happens when you release the idea that your worth depends on the people around you? The reality is, the moment you stop seeking validation is the moment you begin to experience real freedom. And it's not just about feeling better, it's about changing how you interact with the world. The shift from dependence to autonomy isn't just an internal change. It starts to influence how you engage with everyone around you. When you no longer seek approval from others, something remarkable occurs. You stop being a player in the endless game of seeking permission, and you start living for yourself. You stop bending over backwards to please others, to earn their applause, or to fit their expectations. You stop trying to mold yourself into what others think you should be. And when you make that shift, the world around you begins to change as well. Think about it. When you are constantly seeking something from others, whether it's love, praise, or approval, you are surrendering your power. You are handing another person the keys to your emotional state, letting their opinion dictate your feelings. But the moment you stop seeking their validation, you reclaim those keys. You step into your own power, your own sovereignty, and that's when things start to shift. When you stand in your authority, when you stop looking to others to define you, you become magnetic. It's the paradox of life. When you stop chasing something, that's when it starts chasing you. People are drawn to confidence, and genuine confidence comes from within. It's the quiet, steadfast belief that you are enough, regardless of what others think of you. When you stop seeking approval, you no longer need to prove anything to anybody. And when you no longer need to prove anything, people start to notice. They see the change in you, the ease with which you move through life, the sense of calm and strength that radiates from within. They start to wonder what it is about you that makes you so comfortable in your own skin. And that is precisely how magnetism works. Attraction is magnetic because it comes from a place of autonomy. It's not about chasing a person or a thing in desperation. It's about standing firmly in your own truth and letting everything else fall into place. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." It's terrifying because we've been taught to look outside for validation. But when you embrace who you truly are, when you stop trying to fit another person's mold, you unlock a level of confidence that is impossible to fake. That confidence is what draws people in. When you stop needing them, they start wanting you. This isn't just about romantic attraction. The shift from dependence to autonomy impacts every facet of your life. From your friendships to your career, people are drawn to those who don't need them. When you stand in your own authority, people start seeing you differently. You are no longer the person who is seeking their approval. You are the person they start seeking. This change in dynamic isn't just liberating, it's empowering. You start seeing that you are the one in charge of your life. Your happiness, your success, your fulfillment, all of it comes from within. You stop waiting for others to give you permission to be who you are. But it's not just about attracting others. It's about building a life that aligns with your values, your desires, and your purpose. When you no longer need validation, you become free to make decisions that are true to yourself. You stop settling for the sake of others, and you start living for yourself. The beauty of autonomy is that it allows you to build a life that reflects who you truly are. You no longer feel the pressure to conform to the mold of what society expects of you. You start building your own path, making choices that align with your inner reality, and that path is unique to you. The more you embrace autonomy, the more you see that you are capable of building everything you need. You don't need to rely on others to complete you, to validate you, or to make you feel significant. You are whole as you are. You are the only one who can define your worth. And once you embrace that, you stop seeking validation from the external world. Your worth isn't something that can be given or taken by others. It's something that is innate within you, and when you know this, you become unbreakable. It's important to note that this change doesn't mean you shut yourself off from others. Autonomy doesn't mean isolation. It means freedom. It means that you are no longer bound by the need for validation, and as a result, you can engage with others in a more authentic and meaningful way. When you stop seeking approval, you start building relationships that are based on mutual respect, not on the need to be validated. You no longer accept relationships that drain you or make you feel small. Instead, you attract relationships that support your growth, that challenge you to be better, and that align with your values. As you continue down the path of autonomy, you start seeing just how much power you have. You start to trust yourself more, to make decisions with assurance, and to live life on your own terms. The world around you changes because you are no longer trying to fit another person's vision of who you should be. You have built your own vision, and now you are living it. And that is when the real magic happens. The more you embrace your autonomy, the more you become the person you were always meant to be. But here's the secret. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, a journey of self-discovery and self-empowerment. It takes time to unlearn the habits of seeking validation and to embrace the strength that comes from within. But once you do, you see that the only approval you ever needed was your own. When you stop seeking approval from others, you start to live with a sense of purpose and clarity. You stop chasing after things and people that don't align with your authentic self. And in doing so, you start to attract all that is meant for you. You stop chasing, and the world starts chasing you. In summary, the transition from dependence to autonomy is one of the most liberating and powerful shifts you can make in your life. It begins with the realization that you are enough exactly as you are. Once you embrace that truth, you stop seeking approval from others, and that's when everything starts to change. You attract the right people into your life. You make decisions that align with your values, and you build a life that is truly yours. When you stand in your own authority, you stop chasing, and that's when the world starts chasing you. This is the paradox of life and the secret to living with true freedom. There comes a point when the constant noise and distractions start to feel like a heavy weight. It's as if the world is always pulling you in 1,000 different directions, demanding your attention, your energy, your time. The chatter never stops, whether it's through social media, conversations, or the pressure to keep up with the expectations of others. It's easy to get swept up in this chaos, to feel like you have to stay in the loop, to always be reacting to the noise around you. But what happens when you choose to step away from that noise? When you embrace the quiet and focus on what truly matters? That's when the magic begins. That's when you discover the power of solitude. Solitude has a way of cutting through the distractions. When you are alone, when you are not constantly surrounded by external noise, you begin to see just how much of your energy has been wasted on things that don't truly matter. You start to notice that the opinions of others, the judgments, the societal expectations, all of that fades away. In the quiet, you are no longer competing with anyone, no longer trying to impress anyone, no longer following someone else's idea of success. This is when you begin to truly hear your own voice, when you start to see what you actually want from life. It's a moment of clarity. You no longer worry about fitting another person's mold or keeping up with the crowd. You start to care only about your own journey. This process isn't always easy. The world is loud and it's hard to turn down the volume, especially when we've spent so much time responding to the demands of others. But the more time you spend in solitude, the more you begin to notice how unnecessary all of those distractions are. You start to realize that the constant need to keep up with others' expectations is not a requirement for your happiness or success. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The more you eliminate the noise, the clearer your path appears. You start to focus on what truly matters, your purpose, your growth, your destiny, and with each passing day, the more aligned your life becomes with your true intention. As Carl Jung once said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Solitude provides the space for this introspection. In the silence, you begin to understand who you are and what you truly want. You stop being swayed by the fleeting opinions of others, and instead, you start shaping your life based on what resonates with you at the core. This clarity gives you the ability to focus. The distractions that once seemed so important start to fade into the background. The need to keep up with everyone else starts to lose its grip on you. And in its place, you start focusing on building the life you truly desire. This clarity doesn't just come from thinking about what you want in life. It comes from the deep work of examining your values, your desires, and your goals. As the noise fades away, you have the opportunity to truly ask yourself what matters, what deserves your time, what deserves your energy, what deserves your focus. And when you start answering these questions honestly, that's when your life starts to align with your purpose. The more you nurture that focus, the more everything else falls into place. You stop chasing distractions and you start chasing your vision. But there's something even more powerful that happens when you embrace this solitude. Your relationship with yourself deepens. You start trusting yourself more. You stop doubting your instincts and start trusting your decisions. When you are constantly surrounded by external noise, it's easy to get pulled in 100 different directions. But when you embrace solitude, you see that you have all the answers within you. You just needed the space to hear them. And as you tune into your own inner voice, you start navigating life with more confidence and clarity. You start to see your path more clearly, and you begin taking the steps necessary to walk it. This isn't just about quieting the noise for its own sake. It's about building a life that is deliberate, intentional, and aligned with your authentic self. The more you embrace solitude, the more you begin to notice that the distractions were never really serving you. They were just keeping you from focusing on what truly matters. And the moment you shift your focus inward, your life starts to reflect that shift. You start to attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences, because you are no longer being pulled in 100 different directions. You are focused, you are deliberate, you are aligned. The power of solitude lies in its ability to help you reconnect with your purpose. It allows you to focus on what truly matters. The more you embrace this clarity, the more you begin to see the truth of your situation. You stop pretending to be someone you're not to meet other people's expectations. Instead, you start honoring your own vision for your life. Your growth becomes the priority. And with that priority comes the natural unfolding of your potential. You stop reacting to the world around you, and you start creating your own world. As you continue to embrace solitude and quiet the noise, something magical happens. You begin to grow in ways you never thought possible. Your purpose becomes clearer, your goals become more defined, and because you are no longer distracted by the expectations of others, you can focus on what truly matters, your intention. You begin to understand that your time is your most valuable resource, and you get to choose where to invest it. No longer do you have to worry about pleasing everyone else. Instead, you channel your energy into building a life that feels true to you. And this is where the real transformation occurs. As you continue to focus, as you continue to silence the distractions and align your life with your purpose, you begin to see just how powerful you are. Your clarity delivers strength, your focus delivers power, and the more you nurture this focus, the more your life aligns with your true intention. It's not about trying to keep up with everyone else. It's about building a life that is uniquely yours. The more you embrace solitude, the more you embrace your own power. The distractions fade, the noise hushes, and you are left with only what matters: your purpose, your growth, your destiny. And in that space of quiet, you find the strength to become the person you were always meant to be. Ultimately, it's not about avoiding the noise forever. It's about learning to quiet it when you need to so that you can hear your own inner voice. It's about learning to focus on what matters, to channel your energy into your purpose and your growth. And the more you do this, the more you will notice how the world around you begins to change. It's not about following the crowd anymore. It's about forging your own path, guided by your own purpose. The power of solitude lies in this clarity, and the longer you embrace it, the stronger and more focused you become. When you stop seeking approval from others, something shifts inside. It's subtle at first, but it's powerful. Your feelings no longer dictate your actions. For most people, feelings run the show of their lives. We let them shape our decisions, guide our reactions, and define how we engage with the world. Think about it. How often do you find yourself making choices based on how you feel in the moment? We all do it. We react to situations, to people, to challenges, and often those reactions are driven by our emotions: fear, anger, anxiety, or even excitement. But when you start stepping away from the need for validation, you reclaim control of that emotional energy. And that's when your life starts to transform. The reason this shift is so powerful is because it frees you from the emotional roller coaster that comes with constantly seeking others' approval. The reality is, when you base your happiness and self-worth on another person's opinion, you are at the mercy of their moods, their judgments, and their actions. One moment you're up because you've received praise or affection. The next you're down because you've been criticized or ignored. This is exhausting, it's draining, and it keeps you in a cycle where your emotional state is completely out of your control. But when you embrace solitude and start validating yourself, you regain control. You start choosing how you respond to the world rather than letting the world dictate your feelings. The moment you stop seeking validation, You start to see your emotional world in a new light. Instead of reacting impulsively to challenges, you learn to pause. You give yourself the space to respond, not from fear or desperation, but with clarity and intention. This is what emotional mastery looks like. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's about learning to observe your emotions without letting them take the wheel. It's understanding that feelings are temporary. They come and go, but you, your values, your decisions can remain constant. And this is where emotional strength comes in. When you begin to master your emotions, you gain something that is far more powerful than any temporary emotional high or low. You gain the ability to remain grounded. You no longer let the ups and downs of life throw you off. Instead, you become like a tree in a storm, rooted, anchored, and unmoved by the winds around you. Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This is the essence of emotional mastery. You are not at the mercy of your past, your circumstances, or any other person's opinion. You are the one who decides how you respond, and in that decision lies your true power. This kind of emotional mastery isn't just beneficial for your own peace of mind, it's magnetic. People are drawn to those who can remain calm in the face of adversity, who don't react impulsively, who take their time to respond with thought and clarity. Emotional strength commands respect. When others see you stay calm and composed even in stressful situations, they notice. They respect you. They look to you for guidance because they sense that you have something they lack. Control over your emotions and, by extension, control over your life. Think about the people you respect most. Aren't they the ones who don't let their emotions run wild? The ones who, no matter what life throws at them, manage to keep their composure. These are the people who don't waste energy reacting to the chaos around them. They remain anchored, focused, and determined. And this is the kind of person you can become when you master your emotions. It's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about understanding them, processing them, and choosing how to respond. It's about gaining the freedom to act based on your values, not on how you feel in the moment. This kind of emotional strength also has a profound impact on your relationships. Think about how much more stable and fulfilling your connections with others would be if you weren't constantly reacting to emotional triggers. When you stop seeking approval from others, you stop being at the mercy of their moods or opinions. You don't feel the need to impress anyone to gain their approval, or to change who you are to meet their expectations. Instead, you can engage with others from a place of authenticity, knowing that you don't need their approval to feel worthy. And when you engage with others from this place of emotional mastery, your relationships become more balanced. You no longer attract people who are drawn to your emotional dependence, but those who are attracted to your strength, your clarity, and your ability to stand firm in who you are. This shift in emotional mastery also extends beyond relationships. It touches every part of your life, in your career, in your goals, in your personal growth. Emotional mastery allows you to stay focused and aligned with your purpose. You stop getting sidetracked by the fluctuations of your emotional state. Instead, you learn to channel your energy into what truly matters: your purpose, your growth, your vision. This is the essence of emotional strength, the ability to stay committed to your goals, no matter what obstacles arise. It's the ability to stay calm and focused when faced with challenges, knowing that your success is not determined by how you feel in the moment, but by the actions you take each and every day. The more you practice emotional mastery, the more you begin to notice how others respond to you. You stop seeking approval, and instead you start to attract respect. People begin to value you not for your ability to seek approval, but for your ability to stay centered, grounded, and true to yourself. This respect isn't given because you demand it, but because you've earned it through your emotional strength and your unwavering sense of self. And the more respect you gain, the more powerful your presence becomes. You begin to see that the key to true power lies not in what you can control externally, but in what you can control within. But this kind of emotional mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, a lifelong practice of self-awareness, self-discipline, and self-empowerment. It requires you to face your feelings, to understand them, and to choose how to respond. It takes time, patience, and practice. But once you start on this path, you begin to see the changes. You begin to feel how much more in control of your life you become. You begin to see how much more powerful, confident, and magnetic you become. And most importantly, you begin to see how your life shifts from one of emotional reactivity to one of emotional mastery. In summary, emotional mastery isn't just a tool. It's a way of life. It's about reclaiming control over your emotions, no longer letting them dictate your actions or your reactions. It's about standing firm in who you are, no matter what life throws at you. It's about gaining the freedom to act from your values, not from your impulses. And in doing so, you begin to attract the respect, the relationships, and the life you've always wanted. So, take control, master your emotions, and watch as your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. When you spend time alone, something extraordinary begins to happen. You start to see life differently, no longer distracted by the noise of constant social interaction. You start to focus on yourself, your goals, your values, your purpose. This time alone, this solitude isn't just an absence of company. It's an opportunity for growth. And as you grow, you begin to raise your standards. You stop tolerating mediocrity. You start demanding more from yourself, from your work, and from your relationships. This shift in mindset isn't just a change in how you see the world. It's a change in how you see yourself. When you spend time reflecting, you begin to realize that you deserve more. You start to recognize your own value. And with that recognition comes a new sense of confidence. You no longer accept the same old patterns, the things that once seemed acceptable, whether it's the quality of your work, the level of effort in your personal development, or the way people treat you no longer suffice. You raise the bar, and that's when life starts to align with your new standards. The impact of high standards extends far beyond personal growth. It affects the way you engage with the world. People can sense when a person has high standards. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you carry yourself. When you start holding yourself to a higher standard, others begin to notice that. They recognize the change, even if they can't put it into words. This change in your behavior, in your mindset, becomes magnetic. People in general are attracted to those who value themselves. And when you stop tolerating mediocrity, you start attracting higher quality people and opportunities. The same is true when it comes to relationships. When you are constantly surrounded by distractions and accepting whatever comes your way, you often don't see how much you are allowing yourself to accept. But when you spend time alone, when you focus on yourself, you start to see what you truly deserve in a relationship. You stop looking for a person just to fill the empty space and start looking for a person who aligns with your values, a person who complements your growth, not a person who holds you back. People can sense when someone has high standards. They can feel the difference between a person who is desperate for their attention and a person who knows his worth. It's a powerful shift. When you start valuing yourself and stop accepting less than you deserve, others will start to value you too. This is the law of attraction in its purest form. The more you value yourself, the more others will recognize that value. It's not about arrogance or entitlement. It's confidence in who you are and what you bring to the table. As Carl Jung once said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. When you start living according to your own high standards, you stop pretending to be something you're not, to gain the approval of others. You embrace who you truly are, and in doing so, you attract the right people into your life. This change isn't just about romantic relationships. It's about all relationships, including those with friends, family, and colleagues. When you raise your standards, you stop tolerating behavior that disrespects you or holds you back. You stop tolerating relationships that drain you, that take more than they give, and that don't support your growth. The more you value yourself, the more you recognize when a person is not treating you with the respect you deserve. You start surrounding yourself with people who align with your values and who uplift your growth. The more you raise your standards, the more you begin to understand what true self-respect looks like. It's not about expecting perfection from others. It's about holding yourself accountable and expecting others to meet those same standards. This doesn't mean you are demanding or difficult to please. It means you know what you bring and you expect the same level of commitment, integrity, and respect in return. As you cultivate this high standard for yourself, you become more selective in who you allow into your life. You stop making excuses for people's behavior and start expecting better. And as a result, your relationships, both romantic and otherwise, become stronger, more fulfilling, and more authentic. At the same time, this change in standards has a profound impact on your career and your goals. When you stop accepting mediocrity, you begin to push yourself to achieve more. You stop doing the minimum required and instead, you start aiming for excellence. Whether you're working on a project, building a business, or improving your health, you begin to set high goals for yourself. This commitment to excellence doesn't just improve the quality of your work, it changes the way you present yourself in the world. People begin to notice the effort, the dedication, and the passion you put into everything you do. This level of commitment becomes infectious. It inspires others to raise their own standards and to follow your example. When you are no longer content with just getting by, you start to achieve more. The more you push yourself to meet your own high standards, the more you begin to see progress. This progress builds momentum, and before long, what started as a shift in mindset becomes a way of life. Your standards for yourself become so ingrained that they shape every decision you make. You stop compromising on what you want in life and start taking bold steps toward achieving it. Raising your standards isn't just about achieving success. It's about living a life of integrity. It's about being true to yourself, refusing to accept less than what you deserve, and committing to becoming the best version of yourself. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you begin to see how much potential you have. You stop letting fear, doubt, or external pressure hold you back. You begin to see that the only limitations in your life are the ones you place on yourself. The key to this transformation is understanding that high standards aren't about demanding perfection from others or from yourself. They are about committing to personal growth and never accepting less than you know you are capable of. It's about valuing yourself so deeply that you no longer tolerate mediocrity in any part of your life. And as you raise your standards, you build a life that reflects that growth, one where you attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences that align with your vision. Ultimately, the impact of high standards is profound. It changes the way you see yourself, the way you engage with the world, and the way you build relationships. When you raise your standards, you stop accepting anything less than what you deserve. And in doing so, you become a magnet for the life you've always envisioned. You stop chasing after approval and instead, you start building a life that commands respect. Your standards reflect your worth. And when you start to live by them, the world takes notice. Over time, as you embrace solitude and focus on your growth, something remarkable starts to unfold. You begin to see that your worth isn't tied to the opinions of others. And this realization changes everything about how you see yourself. At first, it's subtle. You might not even notice it happening. But as you continue to refine your mindset, as you continue to prioritize self-improvement, you begin to recognize your own significance in ways you never did before. This isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's about deeply understanding who you are and what you deserve. And when you understand that, you stop tolerating behavior that doesn't align with your standards. You stop accepting mediocrity in your relationships, your work, and your life. You see, most of us have spent years, sometimes even decades, chasing after approval from others. We've been conditioned to believe that our value is determined by how others see us. Whether it's in romantic relationships, friendships, or professional settings, we often find ourselves compromising on our values or accepting less than we deserve just to fit in or gain approval. But once you begin to understand your worth, you no longer have to chase after anyone's validation. You stop bending over backwards to make others like you or to meet their expectations. Instead, you start living for yourself, making choices that honor who you truly are. This shift doesn't just change your behavior, it changes how you present yourself in the world. You begin to command respect, not because you demand it, but because you've built yourself up to a point where your presence alone is enough. When you stop chasing after external validation, you start to uncover who you genuinely are at your core. You see that your worth isn't something that can be given or taken by others. It's inherent in who you are. This realization is liberating. It frees you from the need to impress, to please, or to gain anyone's approval. You simply begin to live unapologetically as your true self. And in doing so, your sense of self-worth skyrockets. As your self-worth grows, so do your standards. You stop tolerating people who don't add value into your life. You begin to recognize that your time, your energy, and your focus are precious resources, and you stop wasting them on relationships that drain you or add no positive value. You stop allowing toxic people to occupy space in your life. Instead, you surround yourself with individuals who align with your values, who support your growth, and who treat you with the respect you deserve. This isn't about being picky or demanding. It's about respecting yourself enough to set boundaries and to stop tolerating anything that doesn't serve your highest good. The more you embrace this shift, the stronger you become. It's not just about cutting out people who don't respect you. It's about a fundamental change in how you regard yourself. You no longer compromise your values to make another person feel comfortable. You no longer change who you are to fit another person's idea of what you should be. When you understand your worth, you stop accepting relationships or situations that don't align with your core beliefs and desires. You become selective with who you allow into your life, and that in itself is a powerful form of self-respect. The moment you stop compromising your values, you stop surrendering your power. You begin to see that by honoring yourself, you not only grow stronger, but you also begin to attract others who respect you in return. This transformation doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you unshakable. And by that, I don't mean unapproachable or arrogant. I mean that you become so anchored in your own sense of self-worth that nothing can rattle it. The opinions of others, the judgments, the criticisms, they no longer have the power to affect you. When you stop compromising on who you are, you cultivate an inner strength that is immovable. You become immune to the things that previously threw you off course. The noise of the world becomes just that, noise. It no longer has the power to pull you away from your purpose or your intention. You become the rock, unmovable and firm, because you know who you are and what you stand for. In many ways, this transformation also makes you more magnetic. When you know your worth, when you stop seeking approval, and when you stop tolerating behaviors that don't align with your values, you start attracting the right people into your life. You no longer need to chase validation because it comes naturally. people are drawn to confidence, but more importantly, they are drawn to authenticity. And when you stop pretending to be something you're not, when you stop molding yourself to fit another person's mold, people begin to see you for who you truly are. They respect you, not because you've tried to win them over, but because you've remained true to yourself. And this is when you begin to see that the power was always within you. It just required you recognizing your worth to unlock it. It's also important to remember that this transformation is a process, not something that happens overnight. It takes time to build this kind of self-worth, especially if you've spent years chasing approval from others. But with each step, with each moment of choosing yourself over the opinions of others, you become stronger. You start trusting yourself more. You make decisions with confidence, no longer second-guessing your worth or your choices. And as you continue down this path, you see that your self-worth isn't something anyone can take from you. It's something that is yours to keep. And that, my friend, is a powerful realization. As your standards rise and your self-worth deepens, you begin to see the world in a different way. The people around you may start to change too. You stop attracting the wrong kinds of relationships and start bringing into your life people who align with your energy, your values, and your aspirations. It's not magic, it's a reflection of who you have become. You no longer accept less, and because of that, the world starts to meet you at the level you have established. This transformation doesn't just change your relationships, it changes your entire life. You start to operate from a place of abundance, not scarcity. You see that there is no need to chase after anyone or anything because you are already whole, already complete, already deserving. Ultimately, the transformation of self-worth is about recognizing your inherent value and refusing to accept anything less than what aligns with your highest self. It's about standing firm in your convictions, respecting your own time, energy, and focus, and demanding the same respect from others. And once you step into this power, once you stop compromising on your values, you not only grow stronger, you become unshakable. Nothing and nobody can rattle your sense of self-worth because you know who you are and you know what you deserve. And in that knowing, you become invincible. The longer you stay single, the more you begin to see things clearly. At first, it might feel awkward being alone with your thoughts, free from the constant distractions of other people's expectations. But as time passes, something monumental happens. You start to see that you are whole exactly as you are. You begin to understand that you need no one to complete you. You never did. That realization isn't just liberating, it's empowering. It's a moment when everything changes. You stop seeing relationships as a need or an obligation and start seeing them as a choice. And that shift makes all the difference. For most of us, relationships are often seen as an essential part of life. We grow up with the idea that we are supposed to find the one, that being in a relationship is the ultimate goal. Society reinforces this notion, presenting us with images of love and companionship as the pinnacle of happiness. But when you take a step back, when you give yourself the time and space to be alone, you begin to see something that many people never fully grasp. You need no other person to define you. You are already enough. It might feel strange at first, but the more you embrace this truth, the clearer your vision becomes. You stop looking for another person to fill the gaps, and you start focusing on filling them yourself. You begin to see that your value isn't dependent on being in a relationship, and that is incredibly freeing. This clarity doesn't just change how you feel about yourself, it changes how you approach relationships. Instead of seeing them as a solution to your loneliness or a way to prove your worth, you start to see relationships for what they truly are, a choice. You see that when you connect with a person, it should be because they add value to your life, not because you need them to feel whole. And that's when the power of choice comes in. You begin to choose partners who align with your vision, who complement your growth and who support you on your journey. No longer are you willing to accept relationships that don't serve your highest good. You are not looking for a person to fill a void. Instead, you are looking for a person who enhances your life, who adds something meaningful to the table, and who shares the same values and goals that you do. This journey of self-discovery, of embracing solitude, of learning that you are whole on your own, is what allows you to step into this power of choice. When you know who you are, when you understand your worth, you stop looking for a person to define you. Instead, you become selective about who you allow into your life. You no longer chase after validation or approval because you've already found that within yourself. And this is what makes the relationships you choose to have more meaningful, more fulfilling, and more aligned with your purpose. When you are no longer looking for a person to complete you, the pressure of relationships starts to fade away. You no longer feel like you have to agree to compromise your values or to force something to work just because you're afraid of being alone. You begin to choose partners who fit into your life in a way that enhances both of your journeys. You start attracting people who are on the same path, people who are equally whole and secure in themselves. These are the relationships that bring out the best in you, not because you need them to, but because they support the best version of yourself. You begin to see that relationships aren't about filling a need. They are about mutual respect, shared growth, and a deep connection that enriches both lives. This shift is incredibly powerful because it allows you to take control of your own life. You no longer feel the need to rush into a relationship for the sake of companionship. Instead, you take your time. You focus on your own growth, and you make decisions that align with who you are becoming. You no longer accept less than what you deserve. You begin to build a life that reflects your values, your goals, and your vision. And when you do enter a relationship, it's from a place of wholeness, not neediness. You bring your best self to the table, and you attract a person who does the same. This process of learning to embrace the power of choice doesn't happen instantly. It takes time to shift your mindset from one of dependence to one of autonomy. It takes time to stop seeking approval from others and to start validating yourself. But the longer you embrace this journey of self-discovery, the more you begin to see that relationships are a gift, not a requirement. They are an opportunity to grow together with a person who shares your vision, who complements your life, and who adds meaning to your journey. And when you reach that point, when you are no longer looking for a person to complete you, you become the kind of person who attracts relationships that are built on mutual respect, authenticity, and growth. This transformation doesn't just impact your romantic life. It impacts every facet of your being. The more you see that you need no one to complete you, the more confident you become in your decisions, your career, and your personal goals. You begin making choices that are aligned with your values and your vision, not based on what others think or expect. You stop being swayed by the opinions of others and start living life on your own terms. The power of choice doesn't just free you in relationships, it frees you in every part of your life. You start to build a life that reflects who you truly are, and that life becomes a magnet for everything you've ever wanted. When you stop seeking approval, when you begin to embrace your own worth, you see that you don't have to chase anything in life. Everything you need, everything that truly matters, is already within you. The relationships you choose, the opportunities you create, the success you achieve, they all come from a place of inner strength and clarity. You begin attracting people and experiences that are aligned with who you are and who you are becoming. And the more you trust in your own power, the more you begin to see that the choices you make shape your destiny. Ultimately, the power of choice is one of the most liberating things you can experience. The longer you stay single, the clearer your vision becomes. You stop seeing relationships as a requirement and start seeing them as a choice to connect with a person who adds value to your life, who enhances your journey, and who supports your growth. When you understand that you are already whole, when you embrace your own worth, you stop chasing and start choosing. And that is when the universe starts to open up in ways you never imagined possible. Your life, your relationships, your success, they all align with your true purpose, and the power to create that life is yours. When you begin to live with clarity and self-worth, something extraordinary happens. Your energy starts to change in ways you might not immediately notice, but the effect is undeniable. You stop chasing after attention or seeking approval from others. This change is subtle at first, but it becomes more evident as time goes on. The need to impress people, whether it's through words, actions, or just trying to fit in, starts to fade. Instead, you start to focus on something more powerful, your own development, your own purpose, your own intention. And when you do this, something remarkable occurs. People start to notice you. But here's the thing, it's not because you are trying to impress them, it's because you have reached a point where your energy is magnetic. You have stopped chasing, and now others are drawn to you naturally. There is a powerful shift in energy that happens when you stop looking outside for affirmation. When you stop needing others to tell you that you are enough, your entire presence changes. You start to carry yourself differently in the world. It's like a transformation that begins on the inside but starts to radiate outward. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself. You stop putting on a facade to gain approval or to fit a mold that isn't yours. Instead, you begin to walk through the world with confidence in who you are, knowing that you need no one's validation to feel deserving. That confidence, that self-possession, is like a quiet force. It's not loud or boastful. It's steady, unwavering, and it commands respect without ever having to ask for it. When you embrace who you truly are, when you stop seeking approval and just own your worth, that's when the magic happens. You no longer live for the expectations of others. You live for yourself. And that creates an energy that cannot be ignored. This change doesn't require external acknowledgement. It just is. People start sensing it without you saying a word. They feel your presence, your clarity, your drive. It's as though your energy speaks for you. It's magnetic because it's authentic. It comes from a place of true self-acceptance, and that is something people are drawn to. The beauty of this change is that it doesn't happen because you are trying to get something from others. It happens because you have stopped chasing. You are not trying to impress anyone, gain approval, or fit a certain image. You are focused on your own path, on your own purpose. You have stopped looking outward for validation and have started looking inward, building your life based on your own values and intention. And because of that, people around you sense a kind of quiet strength, a depth and a confidence that is magnetic. They want to know what drives you, what makes you tick, because they can feel that you are a person who is not swayed by the opinions of others. You are grounded, you are clear, and you are in control of your own life. This shift in energy doesn't just affect how people perceive you, it also influences the way you engage with the world. When you no longer beg for attention or validation, you stop spending energy on things that drain you. You stop investing time and resources in relationships or pursuits that don't align with your purpose or intention. Your energy becomes focused. You become more selective with how and where you spend your time. And because of this focus, your life starts to align with what truly matters. Your goals become clearer, your path becomes more defined, and the distractions that once seemed so important lose their hold on you. You become more powerful because your energy is no longer scattered. It's concentrated, it's directed toward the things that truly serve you. And as you start to operate from this place of clarity and focus, something else happens. Your influence starts to expand. People notice your energy, your presence. They see that you are a person who doesn't chase after validation, a person who is secure in who they are. This draws others to you, not because you are trying to impress them, but because you are living authentically. And when you live authentically, when you stop pretending to be someone you're not, to fit another person's idea of you, people are drawn to your energy. They want to be around you because they sense your confidence, your clarity, and your intention. And the best part, you have to do nothing for this to happen. It's not about trying to impress or manipulate. It's about being true to yourself and letting that energy speak for you. This transformation doesn't just impact how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. The more you live with clarity and self-worth, the more you begin to understand your own significance. You stop doubting yourself, second-guessing your decisions, or seeking reassurance from others. Instead, you make decisions from a place of strength, knowing that you are capable, that you are enough. You begin to trust your intuition, your judgment, and your ability to create the life you desire. The more you trust in yourself, the more your energy reflects that trust. It's a feedback loop. The more you trust yourself, the more others trust you, and the more powerful your presence becomes. This shift in energy is something that people cannot fake. It comes from a place of deep self-awareness and self-acceptance. It's not something you can just mimic or put on for the sake of others. It comes from truly knowing your worth and stepping into your own power. It's quiet, but it's undeniable. It's the kind of energy that draws people to you because it's true, grounded, and genuine. And this energy doesn't just help you in your relationships. It helps you in everything you do, whether it's in your career, your personal goals, or your creative pursuits. This clarity and self-worth give you the confidence to move forward, to take risks, and to pursue your purpose without hesitation. But this doesn't mean the journey is without its challenges. There will be times when you feel uncertain, when you question your path or your worth. There will be moments when the noise of the world tries to pull you back into seeking validation. But the more you focus on your own growth, the stronger your foundation becomes. The more you choose yourself and your purpose over the need for external approval, the more you fortify your energy and your sense of self. This energy becomes a guiding force, one that helps you stay on track even when things get tough. It's a power that comes from within, and the more you nurture it, the more it will serve you. Ultimately, the shift in energy is about living authentically and with intention. It's about letting go of the need to seek approval and instead choosing to live for yourself. When you do this, your energy becomes magnetic. People are drawn to your confidence, your clarity, and your intention. You become a force because you have stopped chasing and you have started living from a place of true self-worth. Your presence commands attention not because you chase it, but because it naturally emanates from the authenticity of who you are. This is the power of living with clarity and self-worth. And it's a power that, once tapped into, can transform every aspect of your life. One of the most powerful things you can do in life is also one of the simplest. Walking away. It sounds easy in theory, but for most of us, walking away can feel incredibly difficult, especially when it comes to relationships. We are taught from a young age to hold on, to fix things, to be kind, and to always try our best to make things work. But what if I told you that one of the greatest acts of self-respect is walking away from people who don't respect you? It's not about giving up or being weak. It's about knowing your worth and having the courage to walk away from situations that don't align with your values or your growth. When you spend time alone, when you embrace solitude and stop seeking approval from others, you begin to cultivate a deep sense of self-worth. This newfound confidence doesn't just affect how you feel about yourself, it changes how you engage with the world. You start to see that you don't have to tolerate behavior that disrespects you. that you don't have to accept relationships or situations that undermine your growth. The more time you spend understanding who you are and what you deserve, the easier it becomes to walk away from people who don't treat you the way you should be treated. And the longer you stay single, the more you realize that your peace of mind is far more valuable than any relationship or external approval. At first, it might feel like walking away is a sign of defeat or that you are giving up on something important. But in reality, walking away is often a sign of strength and clarity. When you no longer need external validation, when you have stopped relying on others to complete you, you can see more clearly the people and situations that add value to your life and those that subtract from it. This is where the power lies. The decision to walk away doesn't require an explanation or justification. You don't need to explain your worth to anyone who cannot see it. You owe no one an explanation for why you are choosing to prioritize your own peace and growth. The ability to walk away without hesitation or guilt is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. When you start walking away from toxic people and situations, you stop tolerating low-value behavior. You stop accepting less than you deserve. And in doing so, you start to attract more of what you truly want in life. You set a standard for how you expect to be treated, and that standard starts to shape your reality. You stop accepting disrespect, manipulation, or any kind of treatment that doesn't align with your sense of self-worth. This doesn't mean you become cold or unfeeling. It means that you have learned to value yourself enough to not tolerate anything less than respect, kindness, and mutual growth. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." This is exactly what happens when you walk away. Your actions speak louder than words. Walking away is a powerful declaration of your worth. It says, "I am worthy of respect. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of being treated in a way that aligns with my values and goals." It's not about seeking revenge or making a dramatic exit. It's about maintaining your integrity, protecting your energy, and honoring your sense of self. Walking away becomes a clear boundary, one that defines what you will and will not accept in your life. As you continue to strengthen your sense of self-worth, you begin to see that walking away doesn't just apply to toxic relationships. It applies to any situation or environment that drags you down. Whether it's a job that doesn't fulfill you, a friendship that is draining, or a habit that holds you back. The ability to walk away from anything that no longer serves your growth is a powerful act of self-love. It's about creating space for the things that align with your purpose, your values, and your goals. When you walk away from what does not serve you, you create room for what truly matters. You become the architect of your own life, one decision at a time. One of the most liberating things about walking away is that you no longer need to explain yourself. You owe no one an explanation for why you are choosing to prioritize yourself. In fact, you will find that the more you walk away from situations that don't respect your boundaries, the more your energy starts to change. People start to respect you, not because you demand it, but because you have shown through your actions that you respect yourself. When you walk away from low-value behavior, you show the world that you know your worth. And when you know your worth, others begin to see it. This doesn't mean that you stop caring about people or that you become indifferent to the feelings of others. It means that you have learned the importance of self-respect and emotional boundaries. It means that you understand the value of your own peace of mind and the importance of protecting your energy. Walking away is not about cutting people off with bitterness or resentment. It's about recognizing that some people, no matter how deeply you care about them, simply do not belong in your life if they don't align with your values. You don't need to carry the burden of other people's negativity, manipulation, or disrespect. Walking away allows you to release that weight and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and strength. And when you do this, when you stop tolerating behavior that doesn't serve you, when you stop seeking approval from others, and when you start walking away from anything that doesn't honor your worth, you begin to see something monumental. Your life starts to reflect your standards. Your relationships become healthier. Your opportunities become more aligned with your purpose, and your energy becomes more focused. You stop wasting time on things that drain you and start investing in what builds you up. And that is where real growth happens. When you walk away from the things that hold you back, you create the space to move into a life that truly aligns with your highest self. This shift doesn't come without its challenges. There will be moments when you question your decision, when you feel like you are losing something important. But as you continue to walk away from what does not serve you, you will begin to see that each step you take toward honoring your worth brings you closer to the life you've always envisioned. You stop being weighed down by toxic relationships, low-value situations, and the need to seek approval from others. You start to live with clarity, with intention, and with the confidence that comes from knowing that you are the one in charge of your life. Ultimately, the art of walking away is one of the most powerful tools you have in your journey of self-mastery. It's about recognizing that your peace, your growth, and your integrity are worth more than any external validation or toxic relationship. It's about walking away from anything that doesn't align with your values and choosing to protect your energy for the things that matter most. When you learn to walk away with grace and confidence, you will discover a new sense of freedom, strength, and empowerment that can only come from knowing your worth and standing firm in it. Every moment spent alone presents a monumental opportunity. It's a chance to shape your identity, refine your character, and build your future. For so many, being alone can feel intimidating or uncomfortable. We are taught that relationships are the cornerstone of happiness and success, and the thought of being without a partner can feel like a void. But when you step back and embrace solitude, you see something extraordinary. It's not a void. It's a blank canvas, a space for you to paint your own life, your own identity. It's not about being alone. It's about what you do with that time, and what you can do with it is remarkable. In solitude, you are free from the distractions of external opinions, relationships, and the noise that comes from seeking validation. You no longer get lost in the chaos of trying to please others or conforming to someone else's expectations. This is your time. Time to focus on your growth, your goals, your future. The power of being alone is that it gives you the space to turn inward, to ask yourself, who am I? Who do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to live? And as you start answering those questions, you begin to shape the person you are becoming. This process of self-discovery and self-shaping is what allows you to gain control over your life. No longer do you rely on others to define your worth or to validate your existence. You begin to define yourself. You create your own standards. This isn't about being selfish or detached from others. It's about taking responsibility for your own life and your own happiness. You see that your identity is not something that is determined by your relationships or your external circumstances. Your identity is something that you craft, moment by moment, choice by choice. The core of Stoic philosophy is rooted in this very idea, to focus on what you can control and detach from what you cannot. In solitude, you begin to understand this principle deeply. You see that the only thing you can truly control is yourself, your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. Everything else is beyond your reach. This realization is liberating because it gives you the clarity to stop worrying about things that don't serve your growth. You stop focusing on the approval of others, on whether people like you or not, on whether you fit someone else's image of success. Instead, you focus on what you can control, your own evolution. As Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, you have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the essence of shaping your identity. When you stop relying on others to shape your sense of self, you tap into a well of strength that comes from within. You begin to focus on building the life you want, not the life that others expect of you. And as you focus on that, you start to create something far more meaningful than just an external identity. You begin to build a life that is grounded in authenticity, a life that reflects your values, your passions, and your true purpose. In solitude, you are not just refining who you are also laying the foundation for your future. When you stop seeking validation, you stop wasting time trying to live up to someone else's standards. You begin to create your own standards. This is where your growth accelerates. Each day becomes an opportunity to improve, to challenge yourself, and to create progress toward the person you want to become. No longer do you feel the need to live for another person's approval. Instead, you live for your own approval. And that shift is where real transformation begins. This transformation isn't always easy, though. It requires self-discipline, self-awareness, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. But that is precisely what makes it so powerful. When you face the reality that you are responsible for your own life, your own growth, and your own happiness, you begin to see everything differently. You stop blaming circumstances, people, or external factors for your situation. You start taking ownership of where you are and where you are headed. And this sense of responsibility doesn't just apply to your personal growth. It also extends to the way you engage with the world. As you shape your identity, you begin to set boundaries, make deliberate choices, and direct your energy toward things that matter. You stop wasting time on things that drain you or pull you away from your purpose. Instead, you prioritize the things that support your growth and align with your values. Your energy becomes focused, your life becomes more intentional, and as you continue to build this life, you begin to see just how much power you have. The more you shape your identity, the stronger you become. You start to see yourself not as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of your own destiny. Your confidence grows not because you are seeking external validation, but because you know who you are and what you stand for. This clarity, this self-awareness, is what gives you the strength to face challenges with resilience. You begin to understand that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every setback is a lesson. And because your sense of self-worth is no longer tied to others' opinions, you navigate the world with a quiet strength that others can't help but notice. In the process of shaping your identity, you also learn to embrace your imperfections. You no longer need to be perfect, and you certainly don't need to live up to the unrealistic standards society sets for you. Instead, you accept yourself fully, imperfections and all, and that acceptance becomes the foundation for your confidence. When you stop trying to be someone you're not, you give yourself the freedom to be who you truly are. And that is incredibly liberating. You see that your true strength lies not in conforming to the expectations of others, but in fully embracing who you are and committing to your own growth. As your identity solidifies, your relationships start to change as well. No longer do you seek approval from others, so you stop attracting relationships that are based on neediness or dependence. Instead, you attract relationships that are grounded in mutual respect, shared values, and authenticity. The more you shape your own identity, the more you attract people who appreciate you for who you truly are, not for the image you've been trying to project. And these relationships become stronger because they are built on a foundation of mutual understanding and genuine connection. The longer you stay single and focus on shaping your identity, the more you begin to see that the world is your canvas. You have the power to create the life you want, to be the person you want to be, and to design the future you deserve. Every moment spent refining yourself is an investment in the life you are building. The more you take control of your identity, the more you step into your power. And that power is not something anyone can take from you. It's yours to shape, to mold, and to direct toward your highest purpose. Ultimately, the art of shaping your identity is about more than just self-improvement. It's about living with intention, authenticity, and self-respect. It's about understanding that your growth is the most important thing in your life. When you stop looking to others to define you, you see that the only person you need to impress is yourself. And when you begin to live for yourself with clarity and intention, everything else starts to fall into place. You stop being a passive observer of your life and start being the active creator. And that in itself is the essence of true power. One of the most astonishing benefits of solitude, something most people don't realize until they experience it, is time. Time, that precious commodity we often take for granted, becomes yours in a way it never has before. When you are no longer distracted by the constant need to win someone's affection or attention, you begin to see the vast expanse of time that was always there, just waiting to be used. Think about this. How many hours have you spent over the years chasing after the approval of others, waiting for validation, or trying to maintain relationships that weren't adding value to your life? All that time spent on things that ultimately drained, you could have been used to focus on your own development, your own purpose, your own intention. And the more you embrace solitude, the more you see just how much time you actually have at your disposal. The moment you stop seeking external validation, you reclaim your time. It no longer gets consumed by endless distractions or the emotional turmoil of trying to meet another person's expectations. Instead, you start to direct your energy toward what truly matters. Your purpose, your personal growth, your passions, they all take center stage. You stop getting caught up in the drama of other people's lives, in their needs, in their desires, and you start investing in yourself. You can feel it happening. The moment you stop chasing after things that aren't aligned with your values, your time starts to stretch out before you like an open road full of possibility. Every moment becomes an opportunity to move closer to your goals, to build the life you've always envisioned, to create something that is uniquely yours. The realization that you have control over your time is liberating. In a world that is constantly pulling us in 1,000 different directions, this ability to reclaim your time is a form of freedom most people will never experience. For so long, we have been taught that relationships, external validation, and pleasing others are priorities. But when you spend time alone, you see how much of your energy has been spent trying to meet other people's needs, and how little of it has been spent on the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. No longer bound by the need to seek approval, you begin to focus on what you can control: your own development, your own success, your own happiness. Your time becomes yours to do with as you please. You can choose how to spend it, who to spend it with, and what endeavors to pour your energy into. And that shift, that liberation of time, is a game changer. This shift also brings about a change in how you value your time. It becomes a precious commodity, something you guard fiercely. Time is no longer something that slips away unnoticed. It's something you treat with respect. You begin to see that time once spent can never be recovered. And because of that, you become more intentional about how you use it. Instead of spending hours on social media, engaging in meaningless conversations, or managing people who drain your energy, you choose to invest your time in things that align with your goals and your values. Your time becomes an asset, one that you use strategically, not wastefully. And the more you guard it, the more you see just how much you can accomplish. When you stop allowing other people or distractions to steal your precious moments. As you begin to safeguard your time, you also start to safeguard your peace. You no longer allow people or circumstances to disrupt your focus. When you stop seeking approval from others, you start to see how much unnecessary drama you've allowed into your life. It's easy to get caught up in other people's needs and demands. But when you see that your time is limited and valuable, you stop giving it away to people or situations that don't contribute to your well-being. You become more selective with where you invest your energy. This doesn't mean you become selfish or detached from others, but it does mean that you start to prioritize your time, your mental space, and your emotional well-being. You begin to set boundaries not only with others, but with yourself, ensuring that you are not wasting your own time on things that don't serve your higher purpose. This change in how you perceive and use your time also changes how you approach your personal development. When you have the freedom of time, you can finally devote yourself to the things that truly matter to you. Whether that's pursuing a passion, learning something new, or focusing on your health, you no longer feel the need to rush through life or check boxes just to meet societal expectations. Instead, you take your time, moving at your own pace, focusing on the things that will truly add meaning to your life. Time becomes a tool for your personal evolution. It's no longer something that slips away unnoticed. It's something you consciously use to grow, to improve, and to become the best version of yourself. As you continue to embrace solitude and safeguard your time, you also begin to realize how much more you are capable of achieving. You stop spreading yourself thin, trying to meet the demands of everyone around you, and instead, you focus on what you truly want to achieve. This clarity allows you to become more productive, more efficient, and more aligned with your goals. The more you safeguard your time, the more you see how much potential you have to create the life you desire. No longer distracted by the need to please others, you can channel your energy into the things that matter most to you. You can finally focus on your purpose and make real progress toward your goals. This shift also changes how you engage with others. When you value your time, you start to attract people who also value their time and respect yours. You stop wasting time on relationships that drain you, and you start building connections with people who share your vision and who are also focused on growth. You begin surrounding yourself with individuals who inspire you, challenge you, and uplift your growth. Your relationships become more intentional, more meaningful, and more aligned with the life you are building for yourself. And here's the beauty of it all. When you stop seeking others' validation and start safeguarding your time, your life becomes yours. You no longer feel like a passive participant in the world. You stop waiting for things to happen to you and you start making things happen for you. Your time, your energy, and your focus become the driving forces that propel you forward. You begin to see that the life you've always wanted isn't something that is out of reach. It's something you can build piece by piece with the time you have right now. This sense of liberation is immensely powerful. The more you reclaim your time, the more you begin to see just how much power you have. Time is the only thing you can never get back. And when you realize its value, you start to use it wisely. No longer are you trapped by the demands and distractions of others. Instead, you take control of your time and use it to shape the life you want. And when you do that, you begin to see that your life is yours to create. It's no longer about living up to any other person's expectations. It's about living for yourself on your terms, with intention and clarity. Ultimately, the liberation of time isn't just about having more hours in the day. It's about realizing that your time is yours to safeguard, to invest in your growth, and to build the life you desire. The more you value and safeguard your time, the more you begin to create a life that aligns with your authentic self. You stop chasing after approval, and instead, you start investing in your own development, your own purpose, and your own intention. And in doing so, you create a life that is fulfilling, meaningful, and uniquely yours. The longer you stay single, the more you start to discover a monumental truth: inner peace. At first, it may feel like a fleeting sensation of calm, something you only find in moments of solitude. But as time goes on, you begin to see that this peace isn't just a temporary feeling, it's a state of being. You learn to live in harmony with yourself. You stop depending on external factors, be it the approval, love, or validation of others, to feel whole. This is a game changer for most of us. The desire to be liked, to be accepted, and to be loved by others can often feel like a constant need, something that drives us throughout life. But when you stop chasing that from others, you begin to see that true contentment, true satisfaction comes from within. The first time you experience this shift, it can be eye-opening. There's a quiet realization that you've been chasing something external to yourself your entire life. You've sought approval from friends, family, or romantic partners, believing that their validation would make you feel whole. But what you begin to understand is that no amount of external praise or love can fill that inner void. It's not something any other person can give you. It's something you must cultivate within yourself. And when you do, that's when you experience true contentment. When your happiness no longer depends on any other person's opinion. When you see that your worth isn't determined by others, you start to experience a profound sense of peace. This peace, once discovered, is immensely powerful. It shifts your entire perspective on life. You stop being so affected by external events, by what others say, or by circumstances beyond your control. You begin navigating life with a calmness and confidence that comes from knowing that you are enough exactly as you are. When you are no longer reliant on the approval of others to feel whole, nothing can shake your foundation. The criticisms, the challenges, and even the setbacks no longer have the same power over you. Instead of reacting to the world around you, you begin responding to it from a place of grounded strength. The more you focus on cultivating your own sense of worth, the less you need from the world to feel satisfied. You stop relying on others to fill the gaps in your life, and as you do, your inner peace grows stronger. It becomes a steady presence within you, something you carry with you wherever you go. The more you look inward, the more you awaken to the truth that all the answers you've been searching for are already within you. You just needed the space and the quiet to hear them. When you no longer seek approval from others, you begin to build an unshakable foundation. Nothing from the external world can determine your sense of self-worth. You are no longer tossed around by the opinions of others or the ever-changing tides of external circumstances. This doesn't mean that you shut yourself off from others or stop caring about people. It simply means that you stop giving away your power. You stop giving people the ability to dictate your emotional state or your sense of worth. Instead, you become self-sufficient, standing strong in who you are and what you stand for. Your happiness no longer depends on whether another person approves of you. It comes from within. This self-sufficiency gives you the ability to navigate life with confidence. You no longer need to prove yourself to anybody. The constant striving to meet other people's expectations fades away, and in its place, you cultivate a sense of peace that comes from knowing that you are already enough. You no longer need anyone to validate your choices, your lifestyle, or your goals. The decisions you make are based on your values and your vision for your life, not on seeking approval or avoiding judgment. You stop seeking others' permission to live your life. You live it on your own terms, and that gives you a sense of freedom that is hard to put into words. As you continue to cultivate inner peace, you also begin to notice something else. The world around you starts to change. You start attracting the people, opportunities, and experiences that align with your sense of self-worth. When you stop trying to impress or conform, you create space for the right people and the right conditions to enter your life. You no longer accept relationships or situations that drain you. You stop tolerating behavior that doesn't align with your values, and you begin surrounding yourself with people who support and uplift you. You begin to notice that the energy you emit has changed, and in return, the world responds to it differently. The more you embrace this self-sufficiency and inner peace, the more you start to see how much control you truly have over your life. You are no longer a passive participant waiting for things to happen. You are the creator of your own happiness, your own success, and your own peace of mind. You begin to see that you have everything you need within you to live the life you desire. The external world no longer has the power to dictate your feelings, your decisions, or your worth. You reclaim your power, and in doing so, you create a life that aligns with your authentic self. This process of cultivating inner peace and self-sufficiency isn't always easy. It takes time, patience, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about yourself. But the rewards are worth the effort as you let go of the need for external validation and embrace the peace that comes from within. You create a life that is truly yours. You stop living for others and start living for yourself. And when you do that, you see that you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to because you have everything you need already. You are enough exactly as you are. The more you nurture your inner peace, the more you see that true happiness isn't something that can be given to you. It's something you create for yourself. You stop relying on others for your emotional well-being and start cultivating it from within. And when you do this, you become a force. You become unbreakable because your sense of self-worth is unshakable. You begin to see that nothing and nobody can take away your peace, your happiness, or your sense of purpose, because they come from within. You are the source of your own happiness, and that is a power that nobody can take from you. In summary, the journey to inner peace and self-sufficiency is not an easy one, but it is one of the most rewarding. The more you learn to live in peace with yourself, the less you depend on others for validation or love. You begin to see that true happiness comes from within, and that the ability to navigate life with calmness and confidence comes from knowing that you are already whole. When you stop seeking external validation and embrace your own worth, nothing can shake your foundation. You become self-sufficient, strong, and unshakable, and that in itself is the greatest freedom you can ever achieve. Fear is something that most of us deal with on a daily basis, whether we acknowledge it or not. Fear of being alone, fear of rejection, fear of not fitting in. These fears shape the way we live our lives. They guide our decisions, limit our actions, and often prevent us from pursuing the things that matter most. But here's the thing. Fear loses its grip on you when you embrace solitude. The moment you start to live for yourself, when you begin to focus on your own growth and your own path, something extraordinary happens. The fears that once held you back start to fade into the background. For so long, many of us have been afraid of being alone. It feels awkward at first, doesn't it? The silence, the stillness, the lack of companionship, it can make us feel uneasy, like we are missing something. But as you spend more time in solitude, you begin to see that there is nothing wrong with being alone. In fact, it is in these moments of solitude that you find the space to truly get to know yourself. You stop relying on others for validation, and you begin to validate yourself. As you do this, the fear of being alone gradually dissolves, replaced by a sense of peace and fulfillment that comes from within. Along with the fear of being alone, another fear often looms large in our lives: the fear of rejection. We fear putting ourselves out there, expressing who we truly are because we worry that others will not accept us. We live in a world that constantly tells us to conform, to comply, to be like everyone else. But when you embrace solitude, you begin to let go of this fear as well. You start to see that rejection is not the end of the world. It is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply a part of life. The more you spend time in your own company, the more you come to understand that true acceptance comes from within. When you stop seeking approval from others, rejection loses its power over you. You no longer fear it because you see it has no bearing on your value. This understanding is liberating. It's not that you stop caring about others or that you become indifferent to their opinions. It's that you stop allowing their opinions to define you. You no longer live in fear of what others think. You stop twisting yourself into shapes to fit another person's idea of who you should be. Instead, you embrace the freedom that comes with being true to yourself. You start living for your own approval. You start making decisions based on your own values, not based on what you think others expect from you. And when you do this, you see that you are no longer held back by the fear of rejection or the need to fit in. This kind of fearlessness is what separates the weak from the strong. It's what sets you apart from the crowd. The weak are the ones who live in constant fear, who base their worth on the opinions of others, and who spend their lives seeking approval. But the strong are the ones who have learned to embrace themselves fully, who no longer fear being different, and who no longer fear rejection. They understand that true strength comes from being authentic, from standing firm in who you are, and from not allowing external pressures to dictate your life. Fearlessness is not about being invincible or emotionless. It's not about ignoring your fears entirely. It's about understanding that fear does not control you. It's about accepting that fear is a natural part of life, but not letting it dictate your actions or limit your potential. The more you spend time in solitude, the more you see that fear is just an emotion, one that you can acknowledge but do not have to act on. You begin to notice that fear is often rooted in uncertainty, in not knowing what the future holds. But when you become comfortable with uncertainty, when you embrace the unknown, fear starts to lose its power over you. You begin navigating life with a sense of calm and confidence, because you know that fear is just a passing emotion, not a force that controls you. This is the true essence of freedom, the freedom to be yourself without fear of judgment, rejection, or failure. It's about navigating life with courage, knowing that you need no one's approval to feel worthy. You begin to see that you are not defined by the roles that others expect you to play or the labels they put on you. You are defined by who you truly are, and when you embrace that, you stop living in fear of what others think. Instead, you start living for yourself, and in doing so, you start to create a life that reflects your true self. As you continue down this path, you also begin to notice something else. The more you embrace fearlessness, the more you attract people and opportunities that align with your true self. When you stop pretending to be someone you're not, when you stop hiding behind masks and facades, the right people begin to show up in your life. You start attracting those who appreciate you for who you truly are, not for who you pretend to be. And that is when you see that fearlessness doesn't just free you from the grip of self-doubt. It also opens doors to meaningful relationships and experiences that would not have been possible otherwise. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and it requires patience and self-reflection. But as you continue to walk this path, you will find that the more you embrace solitude and fearlessness, the more your life begins to change. You no longer live for the approval of others, and because of that, you start living a life that is truly yours. You begin making decisions from a place of strength and authenticity, and in doing so, you create a life that aligns with your deepest values and desires. Ultimately, embracing solitude and fearlessness is not just about overcoming fear. It's about embracing your true self. It's about accepting who you are, imperfections and all, and navigating life with the confidence that comes from knowing that you are enough. When you stop seeking approval from others and stop living in fear of rejection or not fitting in, you begin to live a life that is free from the constraints that once held you back. You begin to step into your power, and that power is not something that can be taken from you, it's yours, and it is unbreakable. The longer you stay single, the more you begin to see something monumental. You are becoming unbreakable. It's not something that happens instantly, and it's not something you can easily pinpoint at first, but with time, as you grow and refine yourself, you begin to see a transformation unfold. You cultivate emotional mastery, clarity, high standards, and focus. These aren't just words on a page or abstract concepts. They are qualities that become deeply embedded in who you are. And it is this transformation, this evolution, that turns you into a person who is not easily swayed, distracted, or held back. You have learned to build your life around your purpose and your intention. Everything you do is now aligned with what matters most to you. And the distractions, once so enticing, no longer have any power over you. You start to see that you have been living your life for others for too long. You spent so much time trying to meet their expectations, seeking their approval, and worrying about what they thought of you. But when you embrace solitude and focus on your own growth, everything changes. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve you, on people who don't value you, on activities that don't align with your goals, and on opinions that don't matter. With this clarity comes an immense sense of freedom. You no longer feel like you are chasing after something. You are not trying to impress anyone, nor are you seeking validation from the external world. Instead, you begin to operate from a place of power, an inner strength that comes from knowing exactly who you are and what you are capable of. This transformation doesn't just change how you feel about yourself. It changes how you engage with the world. The more emotionally masterful and self-aware you become, the more resilient you are when faced with adversity. The things that previously rattled you, that previously shook your confidence, no longer have the same effect. You have built a mental and emotional fortress. When challenges arise, you do not react impulsively or get caught up in the chaos. You meet them with calm and clarity. You have a clear vision of where you are headed, and nothing can divert you from that path. In addition to emotional mastery, you have cultivated high standards for yourself. You no longer accept mediocrity in your work or in your relationships. You understand that your time and energy are precious, and you refuse to waste them on anything or anyone who doesn't align with your values. You have learned that the key to success, fulfillment, and contentment is in choosing wisely, choosing your relationships carefully, your endeavors thoughtfully, and your goals intentionally. You have stopped saying yes out of obligation or fear of missing out, and instead, you have learned to say no to anything that doesn't serve your highest purpose. This is where the power lies. You need no one's approval because you have built your own sense of self-worth from the inside out. You know that you are capable, deserving, and worthy of everything you desire. And when you operate from that place, you attract the right people and the right opportunities into your life. The more you prioritize your own growth and purpose, the more the universe starts to mirror that back to you. You stop chasing after things that drain you or that are not aligned with your goals. Instead, you start attracting people who respect your boundaries, who share your values, and who are equally focused on their own growth. The longer you stay single, the more you come to see that the relationships you choose are no longer based on need, but on want. You no longer look for a person to fill a void or to complete you. You are already whole, already complete. So when you choose a partner or a companion, it is because they add value to your life, not because you need them to define your worth. You have learned to choose people who challenge you, who support your growth, and who enhance your life, rather than those who drain your energy or hold you back. The people you surround yourself with become a reflection of the person you have become, strong, self-sufficient, and unbreakable. This shift in mindset, this transformation into a person who operates from a place of power, has profound effects on every part of your life. Your career, your health, your relationships, they all begin to align with your new sense of self. No longer are you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt or fear of rejection. You approach every situation with clarity, focus, and confidence. You know that you are in control of your life and that the only limitations are the ones you place on yourself. As you continue on this path, you begin to see that you are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to because you have built the foundation of mental and emotional strength required to overcome any obstacle. When you reach this point, when you have cultivated emotional mastery, clarity, and high standards, you become a force in the world. You stop playing small. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You start to speak with conviction, to act with intention, and to live with purpose. Your energy is no longer scattered. It is concentrated, directed, and unbreakable. People start to notice the change in you. They feel the power you radiate because it comes from an inner place of self-possession and self-worth. You are no longer chasing anything from others. You have learned that everything you need is already within you. This change doesn't mean that life becomes easier, but it does mean that you face challenges with a different mindset. You no longer fear failure because you have come to understand that failure is just another stepping stone towards success. You no longer fear rejection because you have learned that rejection is not a reflection of your worth, but simply a part of the journey. You no longer fear standing out because you know that the path to success is paved by those who are willing to walk their own path. As you continue to live from this place of self-sufficiency and purpose, you will find that the world begins to open up to you in ways you never imagined. The opportunities, the relationships, and the experiences that align with your vision will begin to present themselves because you are no longer chasing them. You have become the kind of person who attracts what they desire, not because they need it, but because they have built themselves into a person who deserves it. And that is the true power of staying single for an extended period of time. It's not about avoiding relationships. It's about using the time to become the best version of yourself. It's about becoming so grounded in your own sense of self that you no longer need anything or anyone to complete you. When you become unbreakable, you need no permission to live the life you desire. You take it. As you continue to build the life you deserve, remember this: you are the creator of your own destiny. When you live with clarity, intention, and the unwavering belief in your own worth, nothing can stand in your way. Keep moving forward, keep embracing your power, and never let anyone or anything dim your light. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Mindset Mastery. If you are ready to take the next step in your journey, check out the video on your screen. Keep growing, keep evolving, and always stay true to yourself. And if this video added value to your path, do me a favor, hit the like button. It helps this channel grow and reach others who need this message. This is Stoic Mindset Mastery. Until next time.